Hello and welcome to How Can Help Musicians Help You. Today you'll be listening to myself. I work for the creative program at Help Musicians, and you'll be listening to Kirsty Curtis as well. And first of all, to give you a bit of background, if you've not heard of Help Musicians before, we've been around for about, well, almost 100 years now. So a hefty old time. We began things in 1921. We were founded by a tenor called Gervais Yules, who could count Elgar amongst his friends. And we began as strictly a health and welfare charity, providing that safety net for musicians when they needed it most. So if you were out of work, or if you were injured, suffering from an illness, which could prevent you from playing, performing, we helped you. And years later, in the 1980s, we expanded into having a creative program. We still do the health and welfare stuff today, which Kirsty will tell you about as well. So yeah, I'll pass on to her for the next slide.
Thank you, Barnaby. I'm Kirsty, so I work in our health and welfare team, and I help people with their applications. I answer their queries and support them in this way. I also do some project work for the team around our mental health service provision. So as you can see here, we work based on 3 distinct pillars. So it's the creativity, the health and welfare, and also the business development side of things. So between these 3 things, we try and provide as much support as we can to musicians across their entire career. We've realised after quite a lot of research over the years that musicians need all of these things in balance in order to sustain a decent career, basically. And this has become obviously even more important since COVID. Everything has been sharpened somewhat for people, and they're being challenged in very specific ways. Mostly this is in terms of the loss of work, obviously, is the main thing, in live music and in all kinds of music also. This has given them a fairly long-term financial threat at this point, and also has had quite a significant mental health impact, as we can imagine. And also as it affected their sense of self-identity as musicians, really, because they've had to rethink pretty much everything about what they had planned for their career. So what we're looking to do really, especially now, is make a meaningful difference for now, for the current situation, and also for the long term for them. So the ways that we get our insights, we are a research-led organisation. This means that we put a lot of investment into, understanding the industry, and the ways that we do this, various ways. So we conduct a lot of surveys. We are, we have a lot of industry knowledge because we work in partnership across the entire industry. We also, most importantly, probably really value the voices of the musicians that we help specifically. So we're looking to tell their stories and really, get most of our information from them, because that's, they're the ones who are at the heart of it, and they're the ones whose stories matter, really. So yeah, a lot of work across this. And as Barnaby said, we are broken down really into 2 distinct areas. So the creativity side of things, Barnaby's going to talk to you a little bit more about in a moment. And then I'm going to go a bit more into detail about the health and welfare side of things. So, Barnaby?
Thank you. Yeah, so really what Kirsty just explained there, the creativity, the health and welfare, and the business mentoring aspects, in a nutshell, they can be really exemplified by something called the Do It Differently Fund, which is our flagship funds in the creative program, where it's not just a grant of £3,000, you also get business mentoring advice, instructing you how best to use and best to kind of execute your plan and your project, as well as a health and welfare allocation of money to help you along your way, which hopefully you don't use, but it's always there. That support is always there. And if you were to take one thing away from today, Help Musicians is there to kind of help you. Roll this model out across all of our one that's open at the moment is called the Peter Whittingham Award. It's the 30th year So we're celebrating, it would normally be a 5K award, just one, but we're doing 3 5K awards with the possibility of more development awards alongside. And whereas normally it would be an audition in person, what we're doing now is for you to submit your plan, your application, and if you were to be shortlisted, you actually get feedback about your application, your plan from business mentors. So it's a constructive feedback session, and you get something more from it. So yeah, if we can't offer something at the moment, we've got this thing at the moment called the Help Musicians Funding Wizard, which is basically like a Google for all the grants, all the trusts, all the opportunities out there, not just from us, but from the UK-wide pool of opportunities. And what we really try and do at Help Musicians is to engage people one-to-one, do advice sessions offering you help and guidance on how to best fill out your application, and where to source your collaborators from, how to think about your plan, how to think about your career long term to build it in a healthy and sustainable way. We're really interested in you as the individual, and that's who we kind of focus on. So yeah, that Peter Whittingham Award, it closes on the 12th of October, and we're going to be doing some advice sessions as well. So keep an eye out for those. Just to sort of round off as well, we actually we have 11 fund schemes, and we invest 600 grand a year in creative funding as well. So always keep an eye out for those opportunities that fit your genre or your sort of time in your career. And we help everyone from early career to late career as well. So yeah, I'll pass on to Kirsty for the next slide.
Thanks, Barnaby. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the main area of support that we offer within health and welfare. So this is thinking about how a musician's career and life is impacted from the point that they start in the industry right the way through their career until retirement, and even beyond that, actually. So initially we have a very wide support through the main fund, which it encompasses financial support. We help people who for some reason aren't able to work. So for example, if they have an injury or an accident and they physically can't go to work, or if they have some type of mental health issue going on that's impacting them, we'll look to support regardless. We see a lot of musicians in crisis. So if something unforeseen happens in your life, it could be anything, again, from an accident or an illness. It could also be personal tragedy, if you've been bereaved, or something happens that derails you, essentially. We will take quite a comprehensive view of the ways that we can support. And across that, we have a general eligibility, which is that you have to be over 18 to access any of our help. You have to be a professional musician in the sense that you get the majority of your income through music. And we actually have specific ways that we help people. So for example, if it's a health problem that you're experiencing, what we want to do is facilitate you being able to get very specialist help. So we work with an organisation called BAPAM, which is the British Association for Performing Arts Medicine. And what they are basically is they're an organisation as well that they have a directory of very specialist medical practitioners. Now that could be physiotherapists, it could be voice coaches, it could also be counsellors and therapists on the mental health side of things. And these are all individuals who have dealt extensively with musicians, and they understand the musician's needs and things that can impact a musician that might not necessarily impact anyone else, for example. And we find that if people are needing that kind of help, they often can't get it through the NHS because they don't have the same level of understanding. So that's quite a unique way that we help people. And we work with BAPAM across our different schemes. So we'll work with them as part of the main fund. We also have our other schemes. So for example, the Emerging Musicians Health Scheme, that is broken down into 2 distinct areas, one of which is the student element of it, which is where if you're studying music,
Kirsty may have frozen. she's frozen for everyone or just me. I'm not sure. But I'll carry on from where she left off about the emerging musician self scheme, which is that, yeah, it's available for people for up to 3 years, up to 3 years of experience, that is. So if you're fresh out of a conservatoire, or if you're kind of just beginning your career, it's an opportunity for you to kind of have that help and have that support needed in the medical sort of way, so that you can have that consultation. That can be done with BAPAM as well. So yeah, it's quite a nice opportunity for younger people and people just starting out in the industry to get that help that they need. And of course, you can Help Musicians website and also Health and Welfare team to access that help and see if you're eligible. Should go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is what our big sort of big focus was on. We turned around a financial hardship round of funding. We received 20,000 applications for this emergency funding scheme, and I had the privilege of putting out on this. It was £500 just to tide people over during a really uncertain time, and we just had a massive response from it. And we worked with partners within the industry to build resources, people donated as well, big sort of record labels and stuff, all mucked in. And yeah, it was just beautiful to see all the industry come together. And that first round of financial hardship funding sort of came to an end. And again, we surveyed the industry. We tried to understand exactly how musicians were feeling and what they were experiencing through this really difficult and bizarre time. And through that, we started the phase 2 funding, which was a response to the survey telling us that 75% of people were covered by the self-employment scheme, but there was 25% of people that fell through the cracks, not being able to demonstrate they were self-employed even though they were. So our phase 2 hardship funding was to help those people, that had been, fallen through the cracks of that. So that's been good. We've had a good response from that. And again, we're going to be doing phase 3 of our hardship funding, which we're in the middle of researching and testing the temperature of the music industry and what's going to happen and how people are feeling. Another thing that we were really proud of as well, coming together with the rest of the music industry, like UK Music and HMUK, and we convened everyone around the table and came up with the coronamusicians.info, which is a central resource for musicians across the spectrum, really, about the support that you can access during this time, because lots of other people were doing funding, sort of emergency funding schemes and emergency support and stuff, whether you're a freelance music industry sort of figure or the like. So yeah, if you're wondering, or in the future, if you're curious or needing to know about the support that's out there, coronamusicians.info is constantly updated with the vital information. So yeah, do check that out, make a note. So yeah, next slide, please. So obviously during this time, it's been really traumatic and really uncertain. And we know from our research, and you could probably tell us as well, that finance is tied to a lot of mental health issues, and that uncertainty really causes a lot of anxiety and stuff. But we do provide a service for that, for not just musicians, but people across the industry. It's a free service. It's a service that's 24/7 available. You're available to ring or email if that's what you prefer, and you'll get through. You'll speak to a professionally trained sort of therapist. We can talk through anything, and it's not just a phone call either. You can actually get referred onto CBT, and of course that will be through the medium of like this through video call and stuff at the moment. You can get referred on to our health and welfare team as well for further guidance through Music Minds Matter. They also offer guidance on debt and those sort of things as well. So yeah, they can help with a lot of aspects of life, and it's great to that they're just know they're there. So yeah, next slide, please. On top of that, we partnered with Music Supports to develop this app, which is really good. Kirsty and I have tried it. It's really easy to use. You kind of update it like you would lots of other apps for like exercise and stuff like that. You can say, you know, how you're feeling each day, and from that get suggestions on, you know, how to kind of treat you and your sort of situation and stuff, and get referred again onto professional help if that's what you need. But it's really nice to kind of, it's a really nice motivational sort of tool as well to use. And likewise for Music Minds Matter and for Thrive, we did it off the back of research of what people need and what people use and what people would kind of find helpful during this time. It's motivational because you get points, you get Zen points. You might be able to see that at the top of the phone there for checking in and for looking after yourself. Basically, it gives you that motivation to, you know, get good sleep, to breathe calmly, to take some time for yourself, and yeah, that's what's so good about it. Really, it's a good motivational tool. Next slide, please. So yeah, here are the resources all together. As we mentioned earlier, the coronamusicians.info is constantly updated with the relevant information during this uncertain time. And we'll see what unfolds in the next few weeks, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of help for what's ever going to happen. And we've got the Help Musicians funding wizard as well, like I mentioned, which is a really good tool for finding grants, help, support across the industry. And I'd say, yeah, please do sign up to our newsletters to receive news of when the funding programs are open, other funding programs open, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram for those announcements too, as well as announcements for advice sessions, which we'll be undertaking very soon. And get on the website and check out our resources for how to write an application. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. Any questions? Yes, I certainly can give you any top tips on writing a funding application. It's good to write your, it's basically funding applications. There's three fundamental questions that we ask you, which is your background, your project outline, and your and the impact of the project on your career. And story basically of where you've been, where you are currently, and where you want to be, and forming that narrative is a really nice way of not just for us to kind of understand, but for you to kind of plan things. And it's good to write it in first person, to hear that you as a musician, your voice come through. We like to support independent musicians who are good project managers, so detail is key. You know, you don't need to be, you know, Shakespeare either. We have, you can submit a video application, but really just a solid plan that's kind of ready-made. You've gone out to people, whether they be studio engineers or videographers and stuff like that. You've got quotes, and you kind of, there's a skeleton of a plan in place, and we see it and we go, okay, this person is ready to go. They just need the injection of support, and then it will happen. So yeah, detail is key, really, in a nutshell. So yeah, go for it. Any other questions? I'm a songwriter and I'd like to get better at co-writing. Is there a fund that can support this learning? Yes, absolutely. There's the Transmission Fund, which we're going to be in the planning stages of reopening. It's a fund that supports learning and development, but also a slight career change within music. So say if you've always been, a session musician and you want to open your portfolio out, you could do a songwriting course. Say if you wanted to get involved in sync, you could do like a TV and sync course and pursue that as a career strand. And we understand, of course, lots of people are going to be reshaping their business models in light of what's gone on with sort of live touring and live performance in a period of uncertainty. So yeah, I really urge you to grants of up to £1,500 for these short-term learning opportunities. So it's not quite you couldn't really do an undergrad on it, but if it's kind of short course retreats, that sort of thing. And of course we'll be looking for stuff that's suitable for the current times. So if you're doing it over video call like this or that kind of thing. So do check out the Transmission Funds. It's a really nice little fund. It's a good one. How can we contact help musicians after the session? Well, we're always available on the phone. So the phone number's on the website. I think it's 0207 239 9119. That's the creative line if you want to speak to us. It's slightly different for health and welfare. And if you get in touch with us as well on creative@helpmusicians.org.uk, we'll be able to answer any inquiries you have over email. And like I said as well, if you're wanting to have a real sort of in-depth session about writing your application, we'll be offering some advice sessions as well over form. So yeah, keep an eye on that on social media. Number one would be, do the artists have to approach you directly, or can their manager be involved at the start? We tend to have a direct to artist kind of relationship, really dynamic, because that's who we want to sort of help first and foremost. They can be involved, absolutely. What we say with lots of our other funds is you have to be sort of independently sort of either self-releasing, self-promoting or self-directing. If you've got a manager or a small team involved, that's absolutely fine. But of course, if you've got significant backing from a record label, yeah, maybe not quite sort of the level we're looking to support. So yeah. Another question we have, will you be opening the Do It Differently Fund again this year? Quite possibly. What we've been doing is adapting all of our funds specifically for the time that they're released. So it's quite hard to kind of plan the year because we've been doing lots of emergency Do It Differently funds. I hope so. I think we will. Just finished. Like I say, it's special adapted, so we'll do rules. So whereas beforehand we had a cap on how much you could spend on PR, we removed that cap, and of course we wouldn't be looking to fund live stuff at the moment either. So it's for you to kind of look at your business model and what you're doing and kind of think, right, I can make money from digital releases and doing it that kind of way, for example. So yeah, do keep an eye out, and like I say, follow us on all social media channels to be first to know, and our mailing list. So yeah, any other questions? Has the Musicians Hearing Health Scheme reopened? It has, yeah, tentatively. It's reopened in certain branches around the UK. Looking to open it out. Of course, it's if you're comfortable, you can go into the clinic and get the support you need. That's a program that we offer. It's heavily discounted, sort of an ear health assessment. I believe it would be 240 quid if you were to do it normally, but through us, you get a massive discount for it to be 40 quid. And if you're an MU member as well, because we partner with them on it, it would be 30 quid. And it's really worthwhile. I've done it myself, and it's just amazing because you really get they tell you what the state of your ears is like, and give you these bespoke earplugs, take a mold of your ear so it's completely tailored to you. And yeah, I've spoken to the guys that work at Harley Street Hearing, which is the agency that run it for us. And yeah, it's really eye-opening, just how much you've got to take care of your ears, especially as a musician and exposed to so much music all your life. So yeah, I'd definitely look into that. And as I say, if you're comfortable, definitely book a consultation. Roxanne says, are you doing any pre-mentoring for someone who doesn't have a concrete plan? Yeah, absolutely. We do. We're available on the phone to speak through anything, and we're actually piloting a really exciting program called the Mentoring Bank, which is where we pair up people for their specific needs, and they have this relationship over 6 months where a senior sort of musician helps someone that's more early career, helping them do things. As I say, we're kind of piloting it and working it out a little bit, but it looks brilliant, and yeah, can't wait to launch that properly. Kirsty's back. Hello.
Really sorry about that. Internet issues. I am here to answer any questions and yeah, cover up any stuff that I missed or that Barnaby had to cover. Sorry, Barnaby.
No worries at all. I mean, it's Zoom. It's modern life. It's what we're used to now, isn't it? Yeah. Any questions for Kirsty?
It could be anything across the hardship funding or the general work that we do, or maybe our emerging musicians scheme. There's lots of different stuff there, so just pop it in there and let us know. What have we got here? If I'm having financial problems, could you help me? We have a basic eligibility. So if your main income is music, we are likely to be able to help. What I would suggest is get in touch with us. We have obviously phone support there. It's sort of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. If we can pop the number for that just in the chat there for people to refer to, that'd be really great. Also email us help@helpmusicians.org.uk. We have a team of people that are able to sort of talk you through what's going on with you at the moment, and find out if you're eligible, and also get an idea of the ways that we might be able to help. So yeah. Roxanne says, can you tell us a little bit about Emerging Musicians Fund, please? Yeah, so it's basically, it's designed to help people along in that early stage of their career, whether they're actually still studying. So if you're studying music specifically, tends to be music practice. Sometimes it can be involving theory as well, but it's at least predominantly a practice-based thing. And similarly, if you're in the first sort of 3-ish years of your career, then we are able to allocate you a support package. It's intended really for if you're having either health problems that mean you can't play, or if you're having personal issues, mental health issues that mean that you can't focus on your studies or your career in the way that you would like to. We're able to help with that. Again, what I would say is drop us a line at help@helpmusicians.org.uk. and get the ball rolling with that. Obviously, there's a lot of information on the website too about that, about the ways that we can help, and again, the eligibility. There's a lot we can do within that, and there's a lot that can potentially go wrong when you're still studying or when you're in that early phase. So yeah, we've helped a lot of people sort of stay on track with that very fragile period. So yeah.
Excellent. So I think we've gone over time a little bit. So if there's no more questions, we might say goodbye. And thank you all so much again for joining us. And do keep in touch. I think we'll be offering the app, which we talked about. It is free, but we'll be offering you a sort of launch code for that. So please do sign up for that. Yeah, and we'll speak to you very soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.